Hey everybody, it's Ellen Jody here, your PLC lead for high school dance on the Godot Communities website. I am back in the bubble for this webinar. I had some things to show you, so I went back to the formula that we did last year, which was the PowerPoint and then me in the talking bubble. So anyway, hope things are good with you and your family and your dance program and all the dancers. The year is moving along quite fast. I know you're probably already in your spring show preparation, but I thought it might be a good idea to just talk about show preparation and all the things that go into it and all the aspects of it. Maybe it'll spark ideas for the one you have coming up or for some shows in the coming years. So hopefully we can get a discussion started about Showtime. I don't need to tell you how much work a dance show is, and most likely you are the only dance teacher in your building. I know there are some of you with two when you're lucky, but a dance show falls all on you, on the one person in charge, and I'm sure you have a ton of students, that you're in charge of for that particular show week. I hope you have parent volunteers that you can fall back on, although managing parent volunteers could be a whole other webinar. Anyway, so let's get started. I thought I would break it down into 3 segments, the themes and titles for this segment, and then costume hand in and hand out, and then segment 3 will be load in and load out and other ideas for show week. So we will start with themes and titles. When I first started at my school, I was following a teacher who had been here for 15 years. So I didn't want to come in and make complete, 360-degree changes to the program, especially because the seniors that year were quite angry and upset that the teacher was leaving after their senior year. For their senior year. So I wanted to keep things the same for them. So the teacher before me always did a theme for her shows, and all the dances in the show connected to that particular theme. And I've kept that most of the time here at my time at Brookwood. I've changed that in the last year or two, but I will get back to that in a bit. I always feel like the theme helps our audience understand the dances a bit more. Our audiences are probably quite varied with all types of people, but mostly parents and family for us, and then friends, of course, but most of those people aren't familiar with dance. And so I always think it helps them frame what they're singing. And it, can help us, guide us with music and genres of dance. So I remember my very first year, 13 years ago, as I said, I was coming in after a veteran teacher who had been here for 15 years, and I named the show Momentum. And I remember my first curtain speech. I don't remember a lot about that first year because it was such a whirlwind, but I do remember that curtain speech. And I, explained to the audience why I called the show Momentum, because I was going to keep the momentum of the program going. And I do remember getting an applause for that. And I think everyone was, apprehensive that, somebody who had been there for 15 years was leaving and someone new was coming in. But so that wasn't really a theme so much as it was just a catchy title to get people's attention. So for quite some time, I would plan the theme and the title of the show without student input. But as the years have gone by, I pulled the students and the dancers in more and more to help decide what that theme is going to be. So now I pretty much make them decide what it will be. So I think, themes in a show add context for our audiences, and they help guide music and dance and choreography choices. I thought this would be fun to look back and just look at some of the shows that I have produced. Like I said, that first one was Momentum. I do remember we did an 80s remixed show, and that was all 80s covers. That was back in 2010. So that was a fun show. I remember that. I've done Elements. I can't really remember what we did with this one, but I think the show was really skewed towards modern and contemporary. And that was especially back when I was still performing with the contemporary company. So a lot of my work was very modern and contemporary. All That Jazz was fun. We correlated that to our curriculum for that particular semester. We were learning about the history of jazz dance. And so I had that broken up into different types of jazz. So like we would have, I don't even remember exactly the categories that I used, but so I would do like a little blurb on the screen that defined, street funk or whatever dance we were doing. And then the pieces would be after that. Then the next would be like maybe we did contemporary jazz or whatever. And so we would do a little blurb about that history, and then those dances would go. I remember that. That was really fun. That covers all kinds of dance. I've done Dances in the Dark. I have no idea what that was about. I think we were in the part of our history curriculum where we learned about dance from the beginning of time, but I don't know how good that I correlated the dances to that theme. Anyway, so then we did the world moves. I think back to this one. We did world dance inspired dances, something I probably wouldn't do now, thinking about cultural appropriation. But anyway, so I just reused this title for our fall show because we did a lot of, like I just said, Bollywood and African and all kinds of different stuff. So I thought that was appropriate. And none of these kids were around for that show back then. Let's see, Dance of the Dolls. This was a really fun one. I did a modern interpretation of Coppelia. I had lots of props. I had a storyline. It was like lots of big production pieces. It was really fun. I haven't done something like that for a while. Unspoken, again, something I can't really remember, but I'm Unspoken. I'm guessing it was just not too much of a theme, but just a catchy title. I know in that show, we did a tribute dance to my aunt who would later die of cancer. She did get to see the piece on video. Lost and Found was a collaboration with Language Arts. And so the kids in Language Arts wrote an interpretation of Alice in Wonderland. And then the dance department made the dances to go along with the story. That was a lot of fun too. Now it takes a lot of work, as you know, to put that collaboration in motion, but we managed to do it. And so that was really fun. What was next? Now, that was about contemporary issues. That was a really good show. The next one I did was Subsequent. I have no idea. I don't know what, I think we picked that name because it followed the show Now, and that was about contemporary issues. And I think the next show we sort of went in that route as well. And I think this is really when I started relying on the kids to just help me make these things or make the titles and the themes. And then last year I did the track outside. No, not the track outside. I did the show on the track outside because of COVID, and we called it No Wings. Thought that was kind of clever. And then the last one that I have listed here is What is Normal, and that was our social justice show. For spring of 2021. So, now these aren't all the names I've used, but these are some of them. I'm actually in desperate need of a title for my spring show. We have all the dances created, but I have no title. So, with all of these themes being said, this leads me to tell you that at this point in my teaching career, I am moving away from the actual theme of a show and just focusing on a title that's catchy for the audience. And if you caught my last webinar about student choreo, at this point, my shows are mostly student choreographed. And I'm afraid that if we actually picked a theme specific, it would hinder what they do or what they create. And I don't want to do that. So that's the direction I'm moving in right now. No theme, but just a title. But, once again, you have to do what is best for you and your students and of course, your audience. Then on top of theme and title, then you also have to think about your show posters, your advertisement materials, and however you do that. I would love to hear what you do. And then along with all that, for us comes a logo, because of course they need a t-shirt. You'd think we have enough t-shirts by now, but nope, have to have a show t-shirt. In the first few years, I had a parent volunteer who was a graphic designer who did my designs. So it was pretty easy for him. But then as the years have rolled by, as you know, technology makes this stuff way easier, that we can do it on our own. I know there's plenty of apps that you can use. My favorite is canva.com. It's free. And it's really user friendly. I like it. It's my preference. I think I do pay $10 a month to have some of the professional features, but that's just because sometimes I get frustrated and I just want to throw money at the situation. So that's out of my pocket, but sometimes it's a lot easier because I use it so much. Show designs. I pulled out, let's see, there are 2 old ones. Those are the Dancing in the Dark. That's the one that one of the dads did for me. And that was our modern interpretation of Capella. I don't remember who did that one. I don't think I did that. And then these other ones I did. I mean, they're not high art, but they serve their purpose. So that's all I have for this segment of titles and themes for your dance show. I would love to hear what you have done, what dances you've done in the past, what you have scheduled coming up. Of course, please feel free to use any title or any iteration of the titles that we had here. And let's just discuss. Would love to hear how you do it, how you make your designs. Do you make your designs? And what do you do for title and theme of your show? Next segment of the webinar will be talking about costume hand in and hand out for your dance show. All right, see you then.